Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete for Anxiety here, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about. Welcome in today's episode. Before we get started today, we need to cover a few things really quick. Let's talk about the Pete for Anxiety Patreon first off. It's only $1, guys. $1. What does $1 get you? $1 gets you into the exclusive episodes I am recording currently. I'm actually focusing on certain different diagnoses of things to show you guys what it actually looks like as it manifests in a person. So why not for $1, judges? Yeah, they said $1. I just checked with them too. See, they said it was okay. It was $1 anyways. Let's also talk about the Oracle Talk Radio Networks app. In case you can't be here live listening to me, watching this video, supporting the show, you can listen to it on the radio app. Why not? It connects us live to our 365 radio. Just go to your app stores and download the Oracle Talk Radio Network. You'll see the big old Oracle Talk Radio Network app logo right on there. Download it and it'll connect you to me, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, to Pete for Anxiety when I'm live doing my thing right here, informing the world and raising mental health awareness. So where are you going to be? 10 a.m., of course. Come on, we just talked about this. Pay attention for once. Damn, do y'all know how to listen? And as always, guys, like, follow, and share the YouTube channel. If you guys like what you're seeing, leave some comments, man. We want to know. I want to know if you like what you're on. You want to be on the show? Let me know. Hit me up at PeteVersusAnxietyPod@gmail.com. And as always, guys, enjoy the show. And by the way, did I mention to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well? Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because some of y'all are hard of hearing in the back, may have to yell loud or get a megaphone or something. But, anyways, let's get today's show started. Y'all have a great one. Enjoy. Guys, welcome into another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, the mental health podcast, breaking the stigma that mental health is talked about. My guest today is the one, the only, Lucy Lenoir. Lucy, say hi to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
You all may recognize Lucy from her TikTok videos from her band Hunter. She's also a tattoo artist as well. Lucy, how's your mental health today?
I'm actually doing pretty good. I have a day off and I'm just sitting here chilling, preparing for the future, feeling good about it. So we're doing all right today.
Well, that's good. That's good. And like I said, me and Lucy were talking about this off air, but I said I was excited when she replied to my comment asking her to come on the show. And she said, hell yeah, man, I'm not that big a star. I can answer you.
Yes, I am not nearly as cool as I was, but
right. She's like, no ego here, guys. So let me ask you a question, though. Do you know anybody that deals with any mental health issues like depression, anxiety, PTSD, any of that kind of stuff?
Clearly, because I am one of those people.
There we go. See?
So I do have PTSD from growing up, which I'm sure we will get into that. I've been diagnosed with BPD, which is borderline personality disorder.
Oh, see, that's one I've been trying to get somebody to talk about too.
Sure, it's definitely an interesting, definitely an interesting place to be mentally. So it's been a challenge. I just got diagnosed with those things like probably 2 or 3 years ago now, and yeah, I think I've become kind of a ninja of trying to figure out how to navigate that and also be very very busy in a very demanding field and lifestyle of being like an artist that's of course, I mean, I don't get a regular paycheck every 2 weeks, so my life is a lot more unpredictable than most people's, I would say. So
yeah, I get that completely. That makes sense.
Balance, for sure.
Right. Ken says you're a little hard to hear right now.
Oh, okay. Hold
on, she's gonna adjust.
Yes.
Thanks, Ken.
Let me fix this.
There you go. You're a lot better now.
Is that better?
Is that better, Ken?
Can you hear me better, Ken? Hopefully so. Let me go to the chat actually so I can.
Yeah, here, see, look, Ken right here. He says we can't. She's hard to hear.
Okay, now it's popping up. Okay.
There you go.
Hopefully it's better now.
Yeah, he says better now. But yeah, that's great though. Like I said, BPD was one I've been trying to get somebody on that has it because I want somebody to explain to somebody what it's like having BPD. Because I mean, you can read this stuff in books all day, but when you talk to somebody and somebody actually experience it on a daily basis, it's better, and I think it's easier for people to comprehend what it is you deal with. I mean, given that you do music and you do tattoos and everything else, so it's got to be an interesting balance for you on a daily basis.
It is an interesting balance for sure. So BPD, to get a little bit into it, BPD is borderline personality disorder, which usually is a symptom of not having a steady upbringing. So when I was, it like immediately makes me uncomfortable talking about this stuff, but I do it on purpose because that's how we get through these things, I think, is my
Listen, this is a safe
challenging.
space. You can talk about whatever you want here. Like I said,
I
this is the whole
appreciate
point of having this conversation is
it.
that we're trying to
Exactly.
educate people.
Exactly. So it's basically, and not always, it can stem from different things, but mine has stemmed from not having a very stable upbringing. So from, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, I, had things happen in my life that we won't go into detail with, but from a very young age, I have some pretty heavy trauma that I've
Yeah.
held on to up until now, and I'm 31 years old now. So I moved around a lot. It was mainly my mom. My dad was a tugboat captain, so he was gone for weeks at a time just for his job. Mostly just my mom, which she also worked, so I was at home alone a lot of the time. Grew up pretty, fairly poor, honestly, didn't have a whole lot of things or opportunity that my friends did. And the most that I moved in one year, like one school year, I remember I moved 23 times. And
23 times.
yes, sir,
Jesus.
in one school year. So my life was interesting from a very, very young age. I think that was my 10th grade. It was either my ninth or 10th grade year in high school. And I moved that many times. And that's just in one year. So that was
Jeez.
just one year over the course of obviously my whole childhood, among a bunch of other things happening. My dad passed away suddenly. I was 15. There's a lot of, sexual harassment that I've dealt with, and abuse and neglect and all kinds of things growing up. So not having anything stable, of course, that makes you question. That's where the borderline personality comes from, basically. It's like, which person am I going to be today? Because the only way that I learned how to succeed and thrive, or attempt to thrive as a person, was to be in survival mode.
Yeah.
And how I would do that is just read the people around me. And that's, I would say, that's like the hardest thing about it. BPD is kind of, I'm like, what's the best way to put it?
Right.
It's basically not, more or less, not knowing who you are at your core, and feeling like you have to change that to fit into different groups of people to be able to survive, which is just a coping mechanism that I've had to create in order for me to flourish as a person. It's hard for me to be balanced a lot of the time because of that. So if somebody makes me nervous or anxious or says something that makes me uncomfortable, my brain can basically immediately switch my mood. So if I have to, even if I was miserable right before this, I would have had to more or less convince myself that this is happy and now I'm happy, and I can switch it and change it to however I need to be the most successful. So in a way, it feels like you're masking a lot of the time what's actually going on, which is, it's a very challenging thing. It's a lot of mood swings that you literally cannot control.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A lack of sense of self and mood swings that are uncontrollable and debilitating, honestly. So it's been an interesting ride trying to deal with everything and also be like an extremely busy artistic individual at that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hell of a
Well, being
life.
female too, on top of that and everything else, you get that whole. It's funny because I had a conversation. You fall in the category of pretty girls. Obviously, you're a
I
beautiful
appreciate
woman.
it.
Let's
Thank
just
you.
say it out there now.
Thank
These other young ladies had the same issue. They were like, these guys just act like fools, and I'm like, yeah, we're men. I don't know what else to tell you, ladies. I can only say I can't apologize for all of them, but I'm
you.
sure you run into a lot of those problems. I've seen your videos. I mean,
For
you'd
sure.
never even think that you had anything up because just the badassery you just give off. Like, hey, listen, I'm bad. Check me out, motherfuckers. This is where I'm at.
That's
You
it.
know, and it's crazy that when you break it down and now you're telling us that, it's like, whoa, hold on. And
Yeah,
that goes to my point of that we don't know what people deal with on a daily basis, such as yourself.
absolutely.
I didn't even know even prior to this conversation that you even dealt with that, which is great though, because we could educate people now about it though.
Absolutely. It's not, it's definitely not all real. Like, you
Yeah.
never know anybody until we have this right here,
Yeah.
which I think my main thing when I was coming to do this interview today was
Yeah.
that one of the first things that I wanted to tell people, if they're on this, obviously they deal with some sort of issue, some sort
Yeah.
of depression, some sort of anxiety, some sort of, PTSD or something. I wanted to tell people to be sure that you have people that support you, that you have friends, that you
Mm-hmm.
have, even if it's not family. A lot of my family doesn't support me. I don't even talk to some of my family because of some of the things that I've had happen in my life. And that's okay. Just be sure that when you're feeling this way, that you reach out to people, no matter how much of a bother or how depressed you are, how miserable you think you're going to make somebody. I promise you, they would rather you bother them than anything else, than
I
to
can't
not,
say it, but it's the same thing
than,
I say, guys.
right, than to keep it to yourself and let it rot you from the inside, because that's what I did for so long. I'm not kidding you, at least, God, 80% of my life has been just masking and pretending, and I'm fine and everything's good. And that's what you see. And luckily now I have had the opportunity to have a little bit of a following, to have really good friends. And I
Yeah.
have had to force myself to have these really good friends. Even when I'm depressed, I still reach out. When I'm, part of BPD is being manic as well. So I also have, spells where I'm just too anxious and freaking out and trying to, I literally can't do my job, dude. I can't tattoo
Yeah.
sometimes.
God, that's got to be rough some days.
It's honestly, it's not the best. And I just want people to know, like, even with how busy I am and how it seems, you never know what people have going on behind what they're showing you. And you never know when you open up if someone might be going through the same thing. I've tattooed so many people that I'm like, dang, this lady, really has her shit together. And it's my first time meeting them or whatever. And then by the end of the 3-hour appointment, I find out all of this stuff about their life. And you would just like never guess that a lot of people that seem on the outside on a surface level to be doing really great, sometimes they're the people that are struggling the most. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to
That's a good point. I mean, I'm letting you go. Girl, you're saying everything that I've been telling people,
yeah,
the same thing, man. It's like,
yes,
reach out to somebody, have a good support system. Actually, Ken here is actually one of my support systems. Me and him actually check in on a daily basis. And
I
it's
love.
funny, we didn't know each other. We don't know each other in real life. We met each other through TikTok, and that's how we met up. Me and him met up through a live with somebody. Ken's actually been on the show. He heard somebody else's story that was on here. Another gentleman I check in every day with, he's on here too. And they both he had seen somebody else's story, came on, and then it's like, well, man, now I heard this guy's story. Now I want to come do it. And Ken did have a question for you.
Sure.
He says, does it give you trust issues when you with someone when someone stable in a relationship? With someone stable. Sorry, God, if I could read today, it'd be
I
great.
know, right? No, I feel you.
Blah, 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 blah.
Right. I'm the same way. My brain moves too fast for my own well-being sometimes. Um, It definitely does. My boyfriend is that person. He is absolutely just normal, like had a pretty stable upbringing, was like definitely more well off, money wise than my family was. And it absolutely has been a challenge because I'm so used to being let down.
Yeah.
Like I, maybe eventually by the end of this, I'll open up a little bit and say, the actual what has happened. But I've been let down by every big figure in my life. Like everyone that's supposed to be very close and very supportive and very, whatever, has either left or let me down, taken advantage of me. I think it's because I am so nice. Maybe I'm too nice sometimes. That people like to take advantage of that. They see
Yeah.
the good in me. They see that I want to help. I'm very motherly. I'm very nurturing because I don't want people to feel how I feel when I'm low. I try to overcompensate and help people. And
Actually, it's funny you say that because I was interviewing a guy for the audio side of this podcast named Dr.
Mhm.
Tim. And Dr. Tim said, because I do the same thing, I make sure people don't feel alone. He said, well, Peter, the reason why is because when you were abandoned when you were a kid, that's what happened. You gained that personality trait of like, hey, you want to make sure everybody feels included, don't you? And
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, dude, are you reading my thoughts? He's like, yeah, he's like, I'm just telling you that's what it is. And it's just crazy because he said that.
yeah. I mean, it is what it is, and it's an interesting place to be mentally, but you just have to know that it passes. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I would say that's like the biggest thing that I've learned is if I've lived feeling this way for this long, then one, those trust issues for everyone, it's not going to be real for everyone. For some people, it sure It will be real, and they still will let you down, and they still, whatever. But I just refuse to completely stop trusting people, because even if, I'm not kidding, 90% of the people that were supposed to be my friends, people that I've called my brothers, that were bandmates, my family, my parents, my grandparents, have severely let me down, like in huge, huge ways. And even though that has happened, I have looked at my life. I tell my friends to zoom out when you're feeling that way. Zoom out and look at your life from a much larger perspective. Think if you can zoom out and make the earth this small, right? How big are your problems in the grand scheme of everything? In the grand scheme of the universe, how big is it really? And are you going to let it ruin every single relationship that you have? Are you really going to question every single person to where you isolate yourself? Because I refuse to do that. Even if every single person still in my life were to let me down until I die, I will never stop having that hope that eventually someone, somewhere, if not groups of people, if not a bunch of people, maybe, hopefully one day, will see that I have a golden heart. I really do. I don't ever want to harm people. All I want to do is spread love and support and let people know that no matter what they're going through and what you see on social media, a lot of the time it's not real. And we have a lot more in common than we like to realize. And just some people aren't to the level of understanding about themselves. They say you can only meet someone as deeply as they have met themselves. So I just refuse to let some people's lack of knowledge of themselves make me feel lesser, or like I have done something wrong, or having to question that trust for people. Sure, every person I meet, I'm like, are you going to be a creep to me? Are you going to try to touch me when no one else is around? Are you going to lie about me when I'm not there? What's going to happen that this person is going to let me down? Yes, I absolutely have those thoughts, but I refuse to be bitter. I've met so many people that have been through so much, and they're like, well, fuck this. What? They're just pissy and angry, and everybody's terrible. Everything is dark. Nobody's ever going to be there. Guess what? You speak that into existence. Yeah. If that's what you want in your life, that's going to be true. Because unfortunately, on the other side of what I have experienced, I have an older brother that's a year and a half older than me. And he is on the other end of this spectrum. He is miserable. He is sad. He lets everyone else be the excuse for why he hasn't done things or finished things or whatever. And I've seen what it does to people when you can't trust and you don't allow people, you know what? Fuck it. If they let you down, guess what? There's how many billions of people on the face of the planet that do want to support you, that will love you, that won't let you down, that do see your soul. There are people that will see you, and I refuse to let the people that don't know themselves, and that makes them so angry that they have to ruin other people's lives or lie or let them down or whatever. I'm not going to let that ruin the rest of my life because these people have a lack of knowledge of themselves and their own soul. That's not my problem. That's not any of our problem. Our job is to make us happy and hope that it helps other people. And if they let us down, guess what? We're still going to be happy anyway. Because why let it ruin everything? As long as we know ourselves and we know we have a good soul and we keep that hope, that and not even the hope, but the knowledge that not everything is always going to be bad. The knowledge that it's always better in the future. Everything will always get better. As long as you know that for a fact, it will get better for you. I do believe in speaking it into existence. And I will have a better year next year. I will absolutely be better mentally and physically, and I'm keeping that promise to myself. So I refuse to let people's, actions make me bitter, because that's the worst thing we can do in life, is let other people make us suck. And I refuse to do that. That is not something that I'm going to be doing. So
right. Right. I hear you there, though. That's awesome. That's a powerful statement. Just in case you missed it, Mystic Angel said that they appreciate you sharing your story.
Oh,
Like
that's
these
so
are
nice.
these are all live comments coming in right now. Joe Fox is
Oh,
actually somebody's video last Monday he's with us hanging out, and Joe said he's in a very similar situation.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that was a great thing. Like I told Lucy before the show even started that we're this is live, guys. If you're live, you want to say something, you want to ask her a question, go ahead. She'll answer it. She'll
Yeah.
gladly
Oh,
answer your questions.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Whatever y'all want to ask, I'm here for it. I'm totally open as a person. You can literally ask me anything, and I got an answer for you.
Yeah, you better behave yourselves, though, okay? We need to act like we need to conduct ourselves at a better level, damn it, okay? We can't do these things.
Oh, that's funny.
No, but it's so cool to talk to you, though. I mean, like you see people on social media, and then we all idolize these people. And then when you talk to some of them, if they're just so like, sometimes they're not the most pleasant people to talk to, and it's crazy because it's like people base their perception on what they see versus what an actual person's like. And you
Mm-hmm.
just being here right now is great. Like just talking to you is just like, damn, this is awesome.
Oh,
Like
I
we didn't know
appreciate
what the stuff we were gonna find out at this point. We're like, damn, here we go. She's just laying it all out for us now.
any chance that I get to, and I'm like, I will probably cry sometime on this podcast. I may or not. I'm
It's
a
okay.
big crier.
You wouldn't be the
I'm a
first one to
big
cry in here.
crier.
Trust me. We've had a couple crying here before. It's happened. I had a
Right.
grown man. The first episode I was on here,
Perfect.
he's a military man, has PTSD,
Yeah.
TMI, all that stuff, man. And he was in tears describing what he was dealing with on a daily basis. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to me too. That's the great thing about this. This is a safe space. Like I don't tolerate no nonsense here. If somebody in the comments starts acting a fool, they're blocked instantly.
Right.
We're not here for that. We're here to spread mental health awareness to people
That's
and
it.
get the conversation generated.
That's exactly it. And anytime I get on these, that's why I'm just spewing stories.
Oh no, you're not spewing in. You're just going for it.
I'm just talking. Any chance that I get to tell people,
Look, you made a grown man cry, Lucy. Look at you go.
I'm like, as long as it's good tears, yeah. Like,
yeah, Ken's a good friend of mine. He's been on the show too. Like I said, Ken's the one me and him text each other every single day. We ask him the same question: how is your mental health? And a lot of people, it takes them back when you ask them that question. And a lot of people said, "Hey, Pete, I've been asking people that." I said, "So what's the response?" Ken actually had a story when he said that someone had just opened up to him instantly. He's like, I asked him that question, and then you would not believe the things this guy was telling me. And it's great because it raises the question of how your mental health is. I mean, you're not just asking somebody, "Hey, how are you?" And then, as you would say, you're like, "Oh, well, I'll just decide I want to tell you I'm good or I'm okay."
Right.
But the real question,
yeah, right.
the real question is, are you okay? Are you really okay? But
yep, exactly.
And a lot of times it's people are afraid to ask for help. And because they feel like they're not going to get the support. And like you just said, you need to have your own support system, whether it be family or someone else.
Yep.
And it's okay to have those people you can call upon. I have a list of people I can call. Yeah. And they know if I'm calling them at a random time, it means I need something. And
yes, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. And I will say, you also kind of have to, in those moments when I am manic and I am, more or less freaking out, honestly, and I can't control it, and I'm stuck in this like high level of just anxiety, and it's so bad that I'm just, shaking, and I call, 10 people or whatever, and nobody answers. You also have to be able to have the fortitude within yourself to be that person to yourself and know that it passes and know that it doesn't, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Anything, nothing lasts forever. We don't last forever. The earth isn't going to last. You know what I mean? Like, again, zoom out, look at it from a bigger point of view. Like, you just have to know that it passes. That's like the biggest thing that I've learned when I have been in those moods and nobody's there. Because sometimes I have been alone. Sometimes I've lived by myself and been single and been depressed for a while and not reached out to anyone for weeks or whatever. You have to be able to also remind yourself, even in those moods, you're the shit. It passes and it does get better. And that's the only thing. I take it 1 hour at a time. I'm not even kidding. Sometimes not even a day at a time, but an hour at a time. Sometimes 20 minutes at a time. I'll set a timer and I'll say, okay, for 20 minutes, I'm going to be upset. And then 20 minutes when that timer goes off, I don't know what it is, but I'm doing something else. I'll do the dishes.
Right.
I don't care. You have to be able to have that fortitude. And that's just something that I've developed over, 15 years of having to, honestly. But I feel like it's really important because not everyone has people around them, unfortunately. Some of us are just more isolated. Luckily for me, I've developed the ability to be outgoing. You would never guess when I was a child, I was actually very, very quiet and didn't talk hardly ever. Even to my own family, I was just I'm very reserved. And I've developed the ability to be more outgoing. But some people don't have that and it's not in them. And that's also totally, totally fine. But just know and remind yourself when you do get in those moods that it passes and it's not going to be like that forever. That's the biggest thing that's helped me. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll either feel better tomorrow or I'll feel better later this week, or it's just not going to be like that forever, because that's, I think the worst thing is thinking that it never ends and it's always going to be this way. It's, you know, very much you get stuck in that frame of mind, and you just got to force yourself to not get stuck there. You can be there, don't get stuck there. That's
Yeah. Yeah,
for sure.
that's the hardest part when you get stuck in that routine and things like that. And Ken has a point. He says, "I told my daughter if she needs to scream to move it forward, do it."
Yeah, exactly that. I tell people all the time, they're like, what's something you do for your mental health? And I'm like, a good old fashioned car scream. Sometimes you just have to go in your car and just fucking yell.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just gotta yell a
yeah,
lot, you know, and yell a song or not, or
yeah. Okay,
just
so
scream.
saying song now. What song is your mental health song? Like, if you had to pick one that you turn on when you're in that bad mood that just lets out that frustration, what would you pick?
Oh man.
Here we go, guys. Here's the all important question.
Honestly, probably Peace of Mind by Boston. All
Yeah,
I want is to have my peace of mind. That's it. I will sit in my car and scream that song. I'm like, oh my God. The lyrics to that song, if y'all go look it up and you're having a bad day, listen to that song and look at the lyrics, because it's so true. It's like, I don't care if I get behind people living in competition, and all I want is my peace of mind.
yeah,
And that's a huge, huge thing. And of course, Boston, when they wrote that song, we didn't have social media. We barely had the damn internet. If you know,
exactly.
so it's like
Right.
they didn't know what that was gonna mean. Whatever, 30, 40 years later, they didn't know what that was gonna mean. But people living in competition, and all I want is my peace of mind. It's like that's all social media is, when you think about it, is projecting the best version of ourselves for people to, you know, eat that and consume it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So I refuse to live in competition with anyone else but myself, because life it's not a competition, it's an experience. And
yeah.
I feel like that's also a huge thing that I've learned is comparison is the thief of joy, folks. Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to how you were last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see somebody says girls, girls, girls for
That's what
me.
I'm saying.
Hell yeah. That's good. Bam, bam. I'm like, yes. Oh, it's so good. I love hey, you can't, I mean, you kind of can't be sad when you listen to that song. Let's be
My
real.
my song's gonna be. I know I'm gonna sound cliche here, guys, but I'm a big Papa Roach fan. I love that song. Leave a light on, turn the dark
Ah,
away. I'll talk away the dark. Oh my god, I
that's
played
a
it so much. My wife's like, I can't hear that song, and we need to turn it off now.
she's like, I hate this song now.
I love it. I've been a big fan ever since they first came out, and I was just like, oh god. I can remember the day I saw the first video was Last Resort when I was in high
Yeah.
school, and I
Oh
remember
man,
seeing that back when music videos were on in TV. I know I'm old, so
yes. Oh, I remember the
but
good old
God,
days
it was
when in
that's a good one too.
back in the days when they actually played music, you know,
Right?
back in our good old days, like. uh,
Ian has made a comment. He said, mental health and depression is very real. It's about communicating the topic and bringing awareness. Ian, in case you don't know, this is the exact point of the show. It's just to have people like Lucy and everybody else that come on here. That we're just raising the conversation up there for people to talk
mhm.
about. It's creating a safe space, basically, for people to talk about it. Because I feel like when people bring it up, a lot of people don't know how to react to certain situations.
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, you're crazy or this and that.
Mhm.
And then everybody automatically thinks it's therapy and pills. It's not, man. There's so many different things nowadays you can
Mhm.
do and different things you can say and different things you can try. Like there's so much out there. And that's the great thing about this show is that I try to bring out different people from different aspects of things just to get them in here to show you that, hey, there's other things than just therapy. If therapy isn't your thing, try this, try that, you know?
Yep. I'm gonna be for real that most people can't afford therapy,
Yeah.
even if they do really want. Like myself, I can't afford therapy right now. I'm gonna be for real. I can't, and that's okay, because you know what I do is literally everything else that I can. I
Yeah.
do yoga, I stretch, I work out, I take a shitload of vitamins every day. If y'all want to look into some of these, I take maca. I take ashwagandha, which are both really good for just kind of relaxing yourself and bringing you to a decent mental level naturally, which is fantastic. So maca, ashwagandha. I take, it's called inositol. If y'all want to look that up, that's also really good for mood regulation. Um, oh my God, what else? There's so much ginkgo biloba, which is good for your brain and just like clearer thoughts, clearer mind. Of course, coffee, surprise. um, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if anyone else is into it at all, but one of the big things that helps me in my life is THC and CBD. And I dose myself, not every single day, but if I need it before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Um, Snacks of sorts with the
I
THC.
think people overlook that one, and it's
For
like
sure.
I use it frequently if I need it. It's just
Yep.
to feel better if I'm feeling
Yes.
rough or whatever, and it
Yep.
just melt. But it's all about figuring out what dosage, what milligram works for you, and that's what I was
For
telling a
sure.
lot of people
For sure.
with
Because
anything, because you don't want to go too much, or you're gonna have a real bad experience.
I was gonna say it can be overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing. So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had
I had
a lot.
somebody try that before. They accidentally took something and too much of it, and yeah, they're like they went on for one hell of a trip, man.
Yeah, I bet not a good time. Not a good time.
One of them told me they could feel the hair in their teeth. I'm like, there's not hair in your teeth though, man. What are you talking about?
You're like, no.
Well, they're like, oh, I found your gummies. Which gummy did you take, man? Oh, I touched this one. I'm like,
You're
no,
like,
it's already too
oh,
late for you.
right. You're like, well, get ready for a fun ride, friend. But
Oh yeah,
get
it
ready
was a
for
ride, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I tried it once and it had me feeling like Bambi. My legs were gelatin. I was like,
yeah.
yeah, this is too much for me, man.
Yes, that's it's an interesting ride if you do
I just think people
so.
gets a bad net message, you know. But I mean, they're using it for so many different things nowadays. It's
For
not
sure.
even funny. Like it helps a lot, and it's
It's
not all the side effects of drugs and things like that too. Because if you sit
ex-
there and listen to those side effects, dude, there's some crazy things that to come up in that subject.
yes. I'm like, now that we're talking about this, I actually was on a mood stabilizer for the last like 3 years now. And I actually just over the last like 10 months have weaned myself off and not been taking it for the last like month and a half, 2 months now or so. And I'm good. So thank God for that.
Well, it's
Um,
probably the meditation that helps too, though. I know how focuses your mind
for
and things. My
sure.
guest last week, he was talking about that, how meditation is really helpful.
Yep.
And he broke it down very simplistic for people how it works. He's like, you know, your mind may trail off where you're supposed to be, but just really focus it back to where it's got to go. And it's like that's a
Yep.
great explanation for people that always see it and think meditation some goofy thing and something else. And it's like same thing yoga too. Yoga's man. I
Yeah.
tried it once. Holy crap, dude!
Yep, it'll put you in a different frame of mind when you're done, for sure. And
Exactly.
that's like the biggest thing is just doing anything that puts you in a different frame of mind, whether it's THC, whether it's working out, yoga, like we're talking about meditation, whatever it is that puts you in a different frame of mind, do that. Do that thing, the healthy thing, whatever it is that you have to do to kind of switch up how
Yeah.
you're feeling. I heard something yesterday actually that was super interesting that your sense of taste is stronger than like your cortisol receptors or something like that. So if you eat a warhead, if you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, eat a warhead, and the shock that comes with feeling that, like, oh shit, like it literally redirects your brain instead of having to create that anxiety and the manic feeling that you're having. It literally will redirect your brain to focus on like, holy shit, this is sour. And
Yeah.
it kind of dissipates that. Isn't that crazy how we're like wired
Yeah.
to
It is.
different ways? But I feel I'm really glad that you've invited me to do this. I wish there was any amount of information that I could get out. Just
Listen, your
I,
story alone is going to change somebody. Watch, guarantee
I
it. Somebody's going to say, "Lucy, I saw your story and it changed me." And you're like, "Oh hell yeah, that one podcast I was on."
yes, I hope so. I mean,
Listen, I know it will. Trust me. Somebody, it'll touch somebody because somebody's going to see this and things like that too. And Ken says that smells do the same thing too.
yes, yes. That's actually, I have an incense going most of the time, I would say probably. And it's that same exact thing. It's kind of creating like almost like a ritual for yourself. You have to put yourself in the mind frame of being comfortable and having that going, just smelling something nice. I'm like, ooh, clean, it's lovely, it's calm. Because you got to think when you think incense, you think hippie, you think
Yeah.
chill.
See what I'm saying? Like
Ah,
different things come to mind that are not
yes,
even close to what it is.
yes, exactly that. So it's important to realize what works for you because it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah.
It's absolutely different for every single person. So that's the challenge is really recognizing like what makes you happy. And
Yeah.
that's a big like thing that I've had to ask myself within the last few years is like me by myself without my family, without my boyfriend, without my friends, without anybody else's opinion, what makes me by myself, if I was the last person on the face of the planet, what would I be doing to entertain myself, to be happy, to express myself? What are those things that I would do to keep myself going by myself if I was just bored? There's no distractions, nobody to talk to. What is that thing for you? And I've been asking myself that for like 3 years or something now, and I finally found it. And it's art, it's painting, it's tattooing, it's writing. It's a lot of things that I don't have time to do right now. I don't write a lot, but I've got ideas for books and stuff that I've written down. It's figuring out what you would do if you were a millionaire, and what you would do for free, and then do that.
Yeah.
That's the thing to do. And I finally figured it out. Finally.
Right. Well, that's good. You figured it out. I mean, especially being an artist too. You know, when you put your music out there, you just got to get ready for people to criticize the hell out of it.
Oh,
I was looking through some of your other songs and stuff. I saw one guy say, "Oh, this is not the genre." I'm like, "Okay, you can stop gatekeeping now. Leave it alone. All right, it's all right, buddy." Okay.
you would be
I was
surprised.
checking out some of the songs in the catalog, other stuff. I was listening to some of the other songs, and I Paralyzed was a good one too. I liked, and there was another
Thank
one I was
you.
listening to. I really liked too.
Thank you so much. Paralyzed was actually the first song that we ever recorded ever. And
Yeah,
it's our biggest streaming song, so I'm very proud of
that's
that.
awesome. Yeah, because I remember the other one you had was what is it, City Boys and City
Us,
or
boys
Pretty
and pretty
Girls,
girls.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one. That's originally how I came across you guys, and I was like, "Damn, all right, I like
Oh,
this."
nice.
Because I
I love
seen it on TikTok and I was like, damn, all right. And then I was on Instagram and I seen you're on Instagram too. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And that's when I was like, fuck it, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna see what she says. We're gonna shoot her a message and go for it. And I had
yeah.
told somebody else that has a fellow podcast, it's gonna be on next week. He's like, what did she say? I said, she said, yeah. He goes, what the fuck, man? How are you getting all these people?
I love that. Hell
Like
yeah.
people are shocked that I get people come on here. I'm like, what do you mean, man? Like 90% of the people on this show have been come from Facebook alone. Like
Yeah.
I get people on TikTok here and there that I run into and different Instagrams and stuff. I'm always messaging people the same thing. Hey, come on and let's talk about it, And I've
Yeah.
had several different artists, like I said, on here. And I think Bryce from Pretty Suspect is probably the top artist so far. Well, you're probably going to be up to right with them, honestly. Let's be honest right now, because this is a great conversation in general. It's been
Oh,
great to have you. But
thank you.
Bryce was awesome too. He deals with a lot of stuff too and things like that. And he's from Eugene, Oregon. He does he's more of a what do you say, emo kind of area, that area more kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah. Love
But
me
he's
some.
really good though. And I'm trying to get Tanis from Lives Lost to come on, and I know me and him have dodging dates and stuff like that. That's the one I've been trying to get on for the
Yeah.
longest time,
I know you'll
and
get.
things like that.
I know
We'll
you'll
get
get
him
it.
eventually. We'll get him eventually. We'll reel him in. I promise.
Oh, you will. I already know it.
All right.
Yeah. Speak it into existence.
Oh, I did. I trust me. I'm trying to get Papa Roach to come on too. That's the long shot right now. I've been making TikTok videos and trying to tag him. So
That's
eventually, Jacoby will be sitting here. Damn it. Okay.
yeah. Let's
I
yeah. We have
propositioned Jelly Roll, I propositioned Bunny. I've actually gotten my message through to Dane Cook's site on TikTok. So he's accepted my message. So hey, listen, you never know. Anything's
nice.
possible.
Anything is possible.
I'm
Just go.
shooting for the stars at this point. I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm like, if I don't ask, I'm not going to know. So
Yeah.
that's literally how this happens.
That's it. That's literally it. You just got to keep on trying, and even if 1,000 people tell you no, it could be the 1,001st person that it works. So
I just tell them I have abandonment issues, and I don't like how they're just denying me. Just lay some
right.
sad story on them. That's awesome.
Please, I'm sad. Please,
I'm begging you, please come, sir. Please come.
please, sir.
No,
Small
but that.
podcast, please.
I did go through some of the other songs I was listening to before this morning. I was just jamming out for a little bit for my first session because I do 2 time slots. 10 a.m. is my
Yeah.
original time slot, and 3 p.m. picked up because this demand of this thing just took
Yeah.
off. It's been crazy.
So-
I think from in November, I put a digital counter up, and it shot from January to at least May within a week.
Just the
Wow.
demand alone to be on this show alone. And people are like, you only do Mondays? I'm like, right now, yes. But I've been given permission to use like any other time slots that are open on this network because we're still kind of new.
Right.
So
Okay.
so we're a newer network. And when they approached me with this idea originally, they were like, hey, listen, this is a new network. And I said, hey, I haven't recorded anything for this show. I just want to let you know this is brand new. It started
Right.
in August. This is an idea. And I put it out there to see how many people be interested. And I think in the first day I had 150 different responses to it alone.
Wow.
I was like,
Nice.
damn, this thing just went pop, pop. I was like, my phone was just going off. And my wife's like, what the hell is that noise? I go, oh, it's my phone.
That's so good though, because that just means that people are wanting to talk about it, and that's like a
Yeah.
huge thing. People are so, closed off about being real and about, being honest about their emotions, and I just
It,
think
and I'll be honest with you.
that's
Being in this seat, there's some crazy things that have happened in the small existence of this show. We had a woman that was in your side sitting there telling us that she was dead for 5 minutes and explained to us what it was like to be dead for 5 minutes. And I didn't no idea she was going to share this story at all. I've had Columbine shooter survivors come on, and they were on the
wow.
audio side I did, and it was an interesting story too.
Holy shit, that's wild. I'm gonna have to go back and
Yeah,
listen.
it's there's an audio side to this podcast. It's on Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio. We're pretty much everywhere. I got to catch up adding more stuff on there, but it's just I want to make sure this was pretty much good to go, and then I'd add back over to that one because I took the
Right,
commitment onto this. So I'm like, you know what? Let me stick with this, make sure we're good, and
for
then I
sure.
could just add the other stuff later on. But yeah, it's over there. It's on that side.
Nice.
She says that she was so close she could see the eyes of the one of the shooters, and I was like, whoa, hold on, this is intense.
Oh my god, that
Yeah.
is,
Oh
I have to
yeah.
to that. I'm gonna look that up on Spotify because
Definitely,
that's
yeah. Like I said,
great.
it's there. It's crazy too. And then like I had a guest a couple weeks ago. She sent me an interview she did with her. One girl said her mom had 14 different personalities.
Oh
I was like,
wow.
wait a minute. 14%. She said yes, 14 personalities, 14 handwriting samples, 14 different characteristics for each one, and
Oh
she had to
wow.
force them out because no one was listening to her when she said her mom needed help. And
Oh
it's
wow.
crazy. It really is.
No, that's wild. It's so crazy to hear the different like experiences of mental health that people experience, even if it's not themselves experiencing it from someone else from a secondhand perspective is just wild to me. And I'm really grateful that things like your podcast exist in a space where it's very like, you know, clout chasey and everyone's trying to be as cool as possible
Right.
and chill and like successful and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that, but also be real about when you're not feeling great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
some days are rough for me. It just
yeah.
depends. And
Oh,
it's hard for me some days for me to do get up and do it, but I'm committed to this. So I'm like, I've already committed to
yeah.
these people. I'm gonna do it. And there's some
Yeah.
days I put on a smile, man, and I'm really dead inside. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's rough. I mean, it is what it is. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand what it's like. And for me
Yeah.
to tell them, like they're all like, oh, how are you today? I'm doing fine. Most days I'm not doing great at all. Honestly, my head's going 1,000 miles an hour all over the
Yeah.
place and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Right. And I feel honestly that a lot of the basic emotion of anxiety is because we feel like we're not living up to some sort of expectation. I really feel like that's where, and maybe that's just from my perspective, but I feel like it's, a lot of people, we feel, we see the things on everywhere, on TV, on Spotify, on Instagram, on wherever you're consuming TikTok, that again, people put off the super happy, super like, woo, everything's sick. Oh my
right,
God. And
yeah,
then, they log off. And I've literally seen it where people do that and then they log off and then it's like, the light in their eyes has turned off. So
right.
it's like you got to be real at some point because nobody's invincible and we just got to talk about it because if we don't, that's when people really start, struggling because we feel
Yeah,
like we have to be quiet and I'm going to scream it from the mountaintops if I have to. If I'm miserable, I'm going to fucking yell about it,
right.
I'm
I
going to tell
agree.
my friends, I'm going to tell somebody and not just sit in it by ourselves. I think that's the biggest thing is like again, not fulfilling the expectation of us doing well to where when we have to tell, like if I called you and I was like, hey, Pete, and you're like, what's going on? And I'm like, I feel like shit today.
Yeah,
Today is horrible. I don't want to exist. everything is hard, my bills are too, and then we just spew that. We have to do that. Whether we want to or not, you have to get that shit out of your body. Like, just out into words instead of in your own brain, So I will forever be grateful. Again, I'll say it 1,000 times, that things like this exist to where people can listen and say, like, Ken, right now, social media has created this thing to where you feel like you have to compare yourselves to everyone, to everything, all the time. You see people, there's a girl that I follow that's like, oh, I just got a new G-Wagon or what, and she's like younger than me, fitter than me, whatever, has a big ass company, and I'm like, where am I? And where I am, I'm loving myself still.
Exactly.
It's like, comparison is the thief of all joy, and that's all that social media is consuming, to be able to compare yourself to something. Right. And have an opinion of yourself of, oh, well, I'm standing in a better place than this person, or, a worse place than these people, or whatever. And we love to compare. It's like human nature to say, I'm doing better or worse than you. We have to have some sort of hierarchy of how we're doing. But in reality, it's all gray for everyone all the time. Some of the people that you see that are way up here all the time, we change, you know what I mean? Like,
we yo-yo a lot. Yep.
Sometimes we switch off. So you just gotta yell at.
All right. Before we wrap up this episode, did you want to go and plug your socials? Do you want to let anybody know if you got anything coming up with the band, or anything special come up we need to know about?
So if anybody wants to follow me specifically, all of my social media.
Go follow her, guys. She's awesome.
Yes, thank you. I try. Is at Lucy Lenoir. So Lucy, LucyLenoirr. On my personal stuff. My band is Haunter Isn't Real. So on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Haunter Isn't Real. And our website is haunterisn'treal.com. I also have for my tattooing and anything else that anyone would like to hire me for, as well as custom paintings and vocal work, vocal sessions, voice acting, etc. LenoirTattoo.com. My last name, tattoo.com. And you can literally find all of my stuff on my website. So LenoirTattoo.com and HaunterIsn'tReal.com are the best ways to follow me. Haunter will be performing live next year for the first time ever. We've been getting our sound and stuff together for live performances for the better part of this year. And we're really looking forward to it. So we've never played live, but somehow have, over 1 million streams on Spotify. So we're doing all right. And hopefully once we perform live, that it'll explode even further, and I'll be able to talk on more things like this and remind people.
You're more than welcome to come back anytime you like. Definitely. I appreciate 100% welcome to come back.
Thank you for having me. I want everyone to know that you're the shit. No matter how you feel about yourself from day to day, we're still existing. Life is not a competition. It is an experience to be enjoyed. Even the bad things come with some sort of lesson. We learn something from them, or we grow from them. And just even the bad stuff is beautiful. We're alive, and we're able to watch this podcast. We're able to continue to connect with people. I think that's really, really special and really beautiful. Don't stop connecting with people. Keep doing what makes you passionate. And just know, whenever you do get in those bad moods, that anybody listening, you can always message me. You can always comment. You can message Pete.
She does comment back, I guarantee. She comments back to me all the time. I'm shocked, guys. She does it, though.
I do. I get very busy, and it might take me a day or two, but when I get a free chance, I try to respond to literally everybody I possibly can. So just remember to reach out. Remember you're the shit. Spread love, spread joy, and enjoy even the bad things. There's always something beautiful that comes from every single thing that happens, whether it's great, whether it's terrible. We either learn something or we find something beautiful in it either way. So remember, every tiny little thing is very, very special in life, and even the smallest things, appreciate it, because we might not be here tomorrow. So make the best of the time that you have. We get 100 years if we're super lucky, all right? Don't waste a single one of those days.
Right.
Move forward. You're the shit, and I love you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. Guys, you know where to find me, Pete versus Anxiety. I'm pretty much on everything else. I'm like Visa everywhere you want me to be. And as I wrap out this episode, once again, thank you so much, Lucy. It was a pleasure having you. You're welcome to come back. We will definitely stay connected for sure. Guys, as I always tell everybody, you know, it costs nothing to be kind to someone. One kind act could save somebody's life, or hell, you could even make somebody's day, guys. This is Pete from Pete versus Anxiety signing out saying, guys, have a great mental health day.
Bye.